Welcome back to the Barca Breakdown. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please hit that subscribe button. My name is Adam. I'm here with Yus.
What's up, guys?
And we are here, Yus, on the eve of the La Liga season. And I am pretty pumped about what's about to happen because we got no more Copa America champion Lionel Messi. Let's get past that, Yus, because I am focused on what Koeman is going to do and how this team is going to bring us some joy this season, because there are some bright spots here, right? And I think as we look into the season, we want to really look at the first 10 La Liga games, because I don't know if you guys have seen the schedule yet, but we have a pretty jam-packed schedule. It begins with La Real at the Camp Nou this Sunday, and it will end the 10th game of La Liga on October 24th, El Clasico at home. And between there, I know, huge, right? Mm-hmm. And we all remember how poorly we did last season against Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid, so a big way for us to kind of judge how Koeman does in Season 2. Obviously, he has the hard part of losing the best player in the world, but we got Depay. Hopefully, we sign him. We got Griezmann. Fati's coming back. Dembouz should be back eventually. Pedri, De Jong. There's lots to be excited about, right? And as we look at the games, we have La Real at home. We have Athletic Bilbao away. Getafe at home. Sevilla away. Granada at home. Cadiz away. Levante at home. Then we get to this crazy October where we start against Atletico away, then Valencia at home, and then Real Madrid at home. And that is a crazy, crazy end of October. And so I want to hear from you about some of the players and whether or not they're going to be back, injuries, what's going on, Yus?
Okay, big, right? Ter Stegen's been out. And
Yus's favorite player.
My favorite player with his patellar tendon surgery. That was really more not necessary, but he wanted to do it to make sure he's set up and ready to go for this next season. And so reports are coming out that he's going to come back this August, or late August, which kind of falls around Getafe, Sevilla. But, you got to get warmed up.
Got to have some time under his belt.
Yeah.
I mean, he hasn't played an official game since, I think, the last few games of the La Liga season, right?
The second his last game was the second to last game of the season.
And that's a long time for a goalkeeper to be out and, not being seeing shots, not being moving around, making sure his mobility is there. And let's be honest, guys, if we look at Ter Stegen, he was one of the players that disappointed me the most last season. And so I'm hoping to see him rebound. But coming off this injury, especially as he keeps getting older, right? He's not that young Ter Stegen we remember in 2014-15 when we won the Champions League. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, right? So what is going on with Fati Mania use, Ansu Fati?
Big problem when he came back from that second, I believe, surgery. A lot of inflammation, a lot of tightness, infection. And so
in that knee, right?
Yeah, in that knee. And so now he's coming back. He's actually just starting practice with us, which is great news. He should be back somewhat soon, but the team doesn't want to rush him, right? He's a young player. We don't want to cause any more injuries. But the good news, right?
He's there.
He's back.
Yeah, he's training, right? We're seeing photos of him getting warmed up, playing with, Depay, Griezmann, and so I hope to see Fati back. And like you said, there were a lot of rumors that this knee injury Fati had was similar to Umtiti, and we all remember how poorly the recovery went for Umtiti, who's still a blight on our team right now, unfortunately, with his contract. But I think that the board just has to be slow and steady, right? Especially now that Messi's gone. One of the things we talked about in our last video is kind of how expectations have to shift when Messi's gone. It means that, hey, we might not be able to win every game. And so hopefully if we start rough, which we might, we don't feel like, oh, my God, we're having a rough time. Let's make sure Fati's back as soon as possible.
No, 100%.
I need the team to just breathe. And not having Messi, I think, is going to open that up a little bit.
Yeah, no, 100%. And then, the last two players I want to talk about here, one of them being a recent injury, Aguero, calf injury for 10 weeks, kind of came out of the blue. I thought he was all good to play. Maybe the whole thing with Messi leaving has got him
not feeling too hot. I mean, they were like best friends, but it seems like, well, if you remember, even like 3 weeks ago, we heard a little bit that he had an injury, right? We thought he might play the Joan Gamper game. He didn't play, but now it looks like a 10-week injury with his calf.
That's too long.
This is the fear we all had, is that, last season at Manchester City, Sergio Aguero didn't play very much because he was hurt a lot of the season. And throughout the last 4 or 5 seasons, right, one of the big reasons why Aguero never was in the player of the season for the Premier League, or why he never scored more than like 25 goals in a Premier League season, is just because he hasn't played that much time with his injuries in the last few years. So hopefully he'll get better. But let's talk about the Pedri. Coming back from a 72-73 game season last year, ending with the Olympics and a loss to Brazil in that gold medal match.
Still freaking good, dude.
Really good season.
Very great.
For his age, you couldn't ask for much more, but The signs I'm hearing, Yus, are that Pedri is back in practice already and is looking to play soon. That worries me.
I agree with you, but he's the one that said he wants to play and he doesn't want that break. Do we agree with that? No, I think he should take that break. They offered him a break. I forgot. Was it until August 20th or something? They gave him a set time or something like that, and he denied it. He said, I want to play, which is cool in the sense that he's motivated to play the game and he wants to be there and play for our team and play his heart out for Barcelona. But at the end of the day, after playing 70 games, no rest, no break, no vacation, I'm worried, man.
It's tough. And the big thing is we saw last season at the end of the La Liga season that Pedri was tired and that he wasn't in full force, and that is part of the reason why we crumbled at the end of that La Liga season, right? Especially his shooting. He seemed to even lack more confidence as he got more tired, and he wasn't as crisp as he was at the beginning of the season. What's interesting is that it seems like between the Barca season and the Spain Euros, he got rejuvenated somehow. Maybe it's because he's so young that, you know, a few weeks off really means a lot to him. And so maybe he can rebound quickly here. I just don't want to see him get run into the ground and pick up any sort of muscular strains or injuries after so much workload. And you can't have a lot of faith in the Barca physio team, right? I mean, after the last few years, after Dembele, Coutinho, seeing Messi with his pubalgia, like so many different players have had these weird ailments. I don't feel confident in the team. But let's go into what I think people are interested to see. And it's going to play out a lot, and we're going to do an Instagram a YouTube live looking at the lineup when it's announced before the Real Sociedad game. So tune in here. But let's think about what the starting lineups are going to be. And let's assume Depay, Eric Garcia are signed and good to go. And 100%. Emerson has already been signed, right? So if we look at what our predicted lineup is for the first game and for the first, on average 10 games of the season, I think we have a few players we can call certainly going to start most of the 10 games, right? Depay, Griezmann up front. Then I think you can book in Frenkie De Jong, Busquets, and Pedri, right? Pedri might not start that first game, but overall he'll start the bulk. That midfield will, no doubt about it. And then we have Jordi Alba, Pique as well. And then you get into some, and Neto and goalkeep, right, as the goalkeeper. I think that's no doubt. But some of the things I think are up for debate are Sergio Roberto and Sergino Dest, right? Emerson and Balde also could be fighting for those spots, especially with Alba. So do you think Sergino Dest is going to start the most games at right back in this first, beginning of the La Liga season?
I think yes, because Emerson is not totally immersed into the Barca style yet.
He looked rough at the Joan Gamper game.
Yeah, you were definitely thinking that. I thought he did a little better than maybe you have thought. But, aside from that, I think Dest he's more situated with the team. He's already got his legs moving in the team.
And he's a good player.
Yeah, he is. And then I don't want to talk about Sergio Roberto, dude. I don't even know why you bring him into this conversation.
Because he's there. Because Koeman keeps relying on him. And I think we're going to see what's even worse than Sergio Roberto right back. Sergio Roberto in the midfield. No. At least 3 or 4.
Have Pooch.
I know, but at least 3 or 4 of these first 10 games, I think we're going to see him. But let's go to another tightly contested spot, right? It's Lengelet or Araujo. Who's going to pair more frequently with Pique?
My choice here is Lengelet. Although I really do like Araujo, and I think he is great in specific games. I think, but this is more an opinion on how Koeman is going to choose his starting 11. This is not just what I want.
Sure.
But I think he'll go with Lengelet mostly. Although if he plays and rotates appropriately, I think Araujo is a great person to when we need a big, strong body, right?
He's got a good opportunity at headers, right? We saw... I think, Depay whipping some corners, and so there's a good chance there for, Araujo to get in on some of those. So you think Lengelet, but you prefer Araujo. I think I agree with you. So far from what I've seen, it seems like Lengelet is Koeman's first choice, and Araujo is going to be seen frequently, just like you said, not be the tried and true starter. Well,
leaves me. We have one more front spot.
Sure.
Right. We said Depay, Griezmann. Now, if Fati comes back, which I don't think he will be too soon in these 10 games, right? I'm not going to count that. Now we also have possibility.
It's got to be Yusuf Demir.
You think so? Out of the 10?
Yeah, I think after these impressive performances in the preseason, I think we're going to give him a shot. I mean, if you think about other choices, right? Coutinho is still in no man's land. I have no idea if he's back. If he was going to feature this season, you would have seen him in the Joan Gamper game. We didn't see him. So I think Yusuf Demir is probably my choice of who's going to play the most. Who do you think?
I mean, for what's been happening, that's a good choice.
I mean, it could be possible that Koeman plays a different lineup just due to what we have available, right? There, it's likely we're going to see Braithwaite.
Yeah, I was about to say he did utilize Braithwaite in that game, and I think I voiced my concerns before about this, but I just don't think Braithwaite provides enough in the front attack, pressure, creativity, and doesn't score a lot of goals. Right?
I agree with you, and I think I was getting Yusuf Demir is probably my choice. I want to see him get more opportunities, but I'm fairly confident that it's going to be Depay, Braithwaite, Griezmann. And the big thing, especially for Griezmann, is that he now, with Messi gone, can occupy that front right wing-ish space, and that seems to do him a lot better because he has a wonderful shot from his left foot. So I do think we'll see the trio of Depay, Griezmann, and Braithwaite up front. Now, as we go into the season and we try to think about, okay, in this early phase, who are going to be the breakout players, the players that impress? I'm going to steal your thunder because I know we're both thinking it. Everyone's got to say Memphis Depay, right? After a tour, Euros, he was scoring goals. I think he had 2 or 3, as well as in this preseason looking really good and connecting with the players well. I think Depay is going to take that mantle on him of being the player. He doesn't have the, quote-unquote baggage that other players have with remembering Messi. Right, he doesn't have that frame of reference. He's never played with Messi. He doesn't have that thought of like, how was it with Messi when it gets late? Do I have to rely on Messi? It's going to be like, hey, I'm here. They signed me. This is the club I wanted to go to. I need to be the man to score the goals. And so I think Depay is going to be the breakout player. I also really think Frenkie De Jong is going to impress. I think he's going to continue his growth and show up really strong and score some goals. I have a feeling we're going to see like an 8 to 9 goal season out of Frenkie De Jong this season in La Liga. I think he's going to come out big.
Those are great choices. And Depay for sure is going to be someone that I think has already shown to connect with the team very well and
it's got a knack for a goal, man.
100%, and prove that he's there to play for the team. Now my second pick here is going to be Mr. Ricky Puig. Okay,
wow.
I think Koeman has learned a little bit of things here, and he's going to play Ricky Puig a little bit more. He looked good during preseason, good connections, even scored a goal. I think that's going to be a great choice for sub coming in, and I hope he does not utilize Sergio Roberto anywhere in that midfield, and he chooses Ricky Puig in that spot.
Which kind of leads into disappointing players, right?
Of course.
Because Sergio Roberto is the easy one to choose. I think of players who are going to disappoint, it's got to be Pique and Lengelet, right? I think it's a no-brainer for all of us Barca fans to understand that, hey, our defense is the part of our team that is the worst. And so I think it is clear to me that one of the two are going to have a hard time. I think Lengelet, he's going to have that, cloud in the back of his head about the errors, the red cards, the late tackles he made last season, the handball that he made last season that are going to...
just sloppy.
Going to affect him, and he's going to continue being not confident and then lead to more sloppy play. Then I think Pique as well. Each year he keeps getting older, and each year for the last few years he's had a rough beginning to the season. I think he takes some time to get used to like match level fitness and to playing well. Not that he comes out of shape, but like I feel like he has to get his mind right after the first 2 months of the season.
He plays a lot too. Right? It's not like he's only coming off and playing a couple games. He's playing the whole season long. It's fatigue as well as his old age, right? As you get older, it's harder to maintain that fitness level throughout the whole season.
Sure, but my point is more that he struggles at the beginning of the season particularly. I feel like when you get through December to March, he's like in his top form, and so I expect as he gets older for that problem to just compound more. But who do you think? Who do you think are going to be the disappointing players of the season?
So over the last few seasons, really, I think it's just pointing fingers at Jordi Alba here.
Wow.
And I'm just...
You think it's past it?
I think so. I mean, he can play some of these games, some of the lower tier games, and be reliable and still provide a lot of things. But in the big games, I feel like he always ends up disappointing us and ending up crying in a locker room after Liverpool.
We have some big games. Real Sociedad, Bilbao, Sevilla, Getafe. Granada beat us last season. Levante, Atletico, Valencia, Real Madrid. We have a tough beginning of the season. So if you don't think he's going to show up in big games, I mean, all of those are pretty big games for a La Liga title race. And so
I hope Baldi comes in and kind of pushes him to do better, maybe, or even Koeman.
But we've been wishing for that for a decade now. Like
we haven't had a good sub though. I think
true. We thought Firpo was it.
Yeah,
he wasn't it. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, well, let's get to the last thing, which is what is your prediction for our record after 10 games? And just to let you guys know, we recorded this video before when Messi was there.
Yeah.
Yus predicted 8-1-1. I predicted 6-2-2. So after knowing Messi's gone and that, Aguero is injured and we have some deficiencies across this team, what do you and no Messi, of course, what do you think our record will be after the 10 games?
Well, like you had said, I only predicted one loss in this lineup because I really thought we would show up against Atletico and Real
With
Madrid
Messi, that
with
was the bigger
Messi.
thing.
Yeah. But now, just in the sake of not hyping myself up, I think I'm gonna go 6-1-2, which is big because having
Which is
one
9
draw.
games.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. 6-1-2. Whoops. Okay. Then I have to agree with you and say 6-2-2.
Well, I think it's worse now, man. I predicted 6-2-2 when I thought we had Messi. I'm gonna say that we're gonna win 6, lose 3, draw 1. So 6. Yeah, that's my choice. I think we're gonna have a rough time. I think that Sevilla.
But having one draw is really a small amount for 10 games
Well,
at the beginning of the season.
It is, but I
Yeah.
think that's how this team's gonna work. I think we're either gonna pour it on and score more and get the other team to kind of like curl up quickly, or at least early on in the second half, or it's gonna be a slugfest. We're gonna score, they're gonna score again, and our team's gonna lose confidence. So I think it's gonna be a really whiplash type year where our team is scoring a lot, but we're also letting up a lot of goals. And so
sounds like last season.
well, it's going to be definitely heavier on
Sure.
the wins and losses than draws, right? And so you're right. Last season too, we had some very, very poor losses. But anyways, as we said, guys, please tune in before the Real Sociedad game. We're trying to go live around an hour before the game once lineups are out. And we want you guys to please comment, let us know your thoughts. Who's going to be a disappointing player? Who's going to be a breakout player? How we're going to perform up to that Clasico? And subscribe. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, guys.